Have you ever noticed how the stars do not rush to shine, nor the ocean hurry its tides? And yet, everything arrives precisely when it must. Success, too, is not a finish line to chase, but a rhythm to align with. It whispers not in noise, but in the quiet moments between ambition and surrender, in the sacred pauses where the soul listens deeper than the ear can hear. But the universe does not scream its instructions, it sings in symbols, in seasons, in the soft unfolding of what is. But what you seek has already begun seeking you through every detour, delay, and doubt. Even your challenges are not barriers, but brushstrokes in a vast masterpiece you cannot yet see. So breathe, soften, let go of the grasping and instead attune yourself to the divine choreography already in motion. For in this dance of becoming, you are not lost. You are being woven into something infinite. Most of us have been taught to run, to chase, to grasp, but to hustle our way toward success, as if it were some elusive bird that only the fastest and most determined could catch. But we lace our days with urgency and measure our worth in milestones, hoping that if we accumulate enough achievements, we might finally be worthy of arrival. But the truth, as quiet and profound as a mountain in the fog, is that success is not something we hunt. It is something we harmonize with. There is a rhythm to this life, an intelligence far deeper than strategy or self-help. Look to the tide. The moon pulls it not with effort but with presence. The trees do not stretch toward the sun with anxiety. They simply grow in trust, guided by the unseen codes written into their being. But in the same way, your path to success isn't found in frantic movement. It is discovered in learning how to listen. To yourself, to life, to the deeper currents underneath all this noise. The modern world convinces us that we must always be doing, always producing, comparing, competing. But if you pause for just a moment and allow yourself to feel, you'll notice something else stirring. You'll sense that underneath the ticking clock and to-do list is a far older rhythm. One that is asking you not to speed up, but to align. It's not about quitting your work or abandoning ambition. Rather, it's about returning to a more truthful pace. But a pace where your actions arise from clarity, not compulsion. A pace where your next step comes not from fear of falling behind, but from knowing exactly where your feet belong. You see, success is not a reward handed out at the end of exhaustion. It is the natural byproduct of harmony, when your inner truth meets the outer world in a moment of mutual recognition. That's when doors open, not because you kicked them down, but because they recognized you were ready. There is a time for every seed to bloom, but no seed rushes its spring. When you learn to trust this rhythm, life becomes less of a battle and more of a dance. You'll begin to notice signs, synchronicities, subtle nudges. Life speaking to you in symbols rather than sentences. That missed opportunity, perhaps a redirection, that unexpected delay, a divine recalibration. What once felt like failure might be the pause between notes in a song that's still being composed. And if you can sit still enough to feel it, you'll understand even silence has a sound. You are not meant to live as a machine in a factory of expectations. You are a wave in the ocean, a note in a celestial symphony, unfolding at the pace of eternity. The universe does not ask you to dominate it. It invites you to remember that you are a part of it, but and when you live from that remembrance, success stops being something you chase and becomes something that finds you. The wisest thing you can do is not to move faster, but to become still enough to hear where life is already guiding you. For in the great rhythm of things, your timing is not late. It is eternal. We often find ourselves restless in the quiet spaces of life. When nothing seems to be moving, when doors don't open, when efforts bear no immediate fruit, we grow uneasy with. There's an itch beneath the stillness, a whisper in the back of the mind that says, "You're falling behind." And so we fidget, but with. We worry, we grasp at anything that might restore the illusion of momentum. But what if these silent stretches, with these pauses we try so hard to avoid, are not detours, but the very essence of our becoming? Stillness is not the absence of progress. It is its womb. Just as a seed must rest in the dark soil before it can rise toward the sun, with. We too must sometimes be held in spaces where nothing seems to happen. And yet everything is happening. Not on the surface, but in the depths, in the roots of your being where the real work takes place. Growth is not always loud. Transformation is often a quiet unfolding. You see, we live in a culture that glorifies action, celebrates movement with, and treats rest as a luxury, something you earn only after you've proven your worth through endless striving. But the universe doesn't operate this way. Nature doesn't bloom all year long. Even the moon takes its time to fade and return. Why, then do we believe we must constantly be, to be valuable? The most profound shifts in life do not occur in the spotlight. They happen in the stillness, when we finally stop pushing and begin listening. It is in stillness that clarity emerges. Without the constant hum of doing, we begin to hear the subtler music of intuition. We begin to notice the whispers we ignored, the soft knowing that tells us when to let go, when to stay, when to trust. But this requires courage, because being still means being present with ourselves. And presence, for many, is unfamiliar territory. We are so used to running from discomfort that we forget discomfort is often the doorway to depth. Think about the night sky. Its beauty isn't found in constant fireworks, but in its quiet expanse, its mystery, its silence. In the same way, the moments in your life that feel empty may simply be the space being made for something new to emerge. Stillness is not stagnation. It is sacred preparation. It is the deep breath before the leap, the still waters before the tide returns. And even when nothing seems to be changing, something always is. You are always becoming. Even when the world can't see it. Trust that. Trust the invisible. Because life is not measured in how quickly you reach your goals, but in how deeply you inhabit your journey. So, when life invites you into stillness, don't resist it. Don't rush to fill it with noise. Sit in it. Feel it. Let it speak. You may find that the very silence you feared holds the answers you've been searching for. You may find that success, the kind that nourishes the soul rather than inflates the ego, grows not in the storms of effort, but in the soft soil of surrender. And when you can be fully present in the stillness, you'll begin to see that it's not a pause between chapters. It is the story, with a quiet moment in the great unfolding, a breath in the dance of eternity, because it is only in stillness that we truly remember we were never lost, only becoming whole. We tend to think of challenges as interruptions, glitches in the path we imagined, intrusions that pull us off course. But what if they aren't interruptions at all? What if they are the course? What if the very things you resist, but the moments that stretch you thin or bring you to your knees, are not barriers to your becoming, but the exact invitations required to awaken it? The idea that success should arrive without friction is one of the greatest illusions of our time. We long for ease, for the straight road, for the version of life that unfolds like a well-written script. But life isn't a script. It's a symphony, and not every note is sweet. Some are dissonant, sharp, unpredictable. And yet, when you step back and listen to the whole, even the discord has its place. Without tension, there is no resolution. Without shadow, there is no shape, in truth. But with, your struggles are not here to punish you. They're here to refine you, like the fire that tempers steel. With, your challenges burn away what no longer serves, making space for the strength you didn't know you had. With, they break the shell of who you thought you were so that something vaster can emerge. And that process, though painful, is sacred. But with, it is in those moments, when nothing makes sense, when you question your path, your worth, even your purpose, that something ancient stirs within, a deeper self, a more honest voice, and slowly, sometimes quietly, with, you begin to realize that your pain is not meaningless. It's a doorway. The difficulty is not in the way, it is the way. Think of the caterpillar dissolving in its cocoon. To the outside world, it looks like stillness or even failure. But inside, that a miracle is happening, one form dissolving entirely to give birth to another. And so it is with us. We resist that dissolution because we mistake discomfort for danger. But in truth, every discomfort contains a messaging with that something in you is ready to transform. The gift of hardship is that it strips away pretense. With, it asks you who you really are when no one's watching, when there's nothing left to prove, when all you have is breath and being. In those raw places, you come face to face with yourself, not the mask you wear in the world, but the being underneath. With, and from that space real success can be born. Not the kind built on achievements alone, but the kind that rises from authenticity, from resilience, from deep and earned wisdom. There is beauty in your breaking. There is power in your surrender. And there is an intelligence in your pain that you cannot always understand in the moment. But later, sometimes months, sometimes years, you look back and see it clearly that what hurt you also shaped you. That what slowed you down also taught you stillness. That what tested your faith, in the end, deepened it. With, so let your challenges change you. Let them soften you, humble you, strengthen you, not into someone harder, but into someone more whole. Do not rush to escape what's difficult. Meet it. Breathe with it. Ask it what it has come to teach you. With, for in the sacred unfolding of your journey, even the storms are part of the sky. Even the cracks in your path are part of the design. With, and the very thing you once wished away one day reveal itself as the moment you truly began. But with, because it's only through the fire that you remember. You were never meant to be untouched. You were meant to be transformed. With, we spend much of our lives trying to perform, to be impressive, to be liked, to meet some invisible standard set not by the soul, but by the world. We collect titles, achievements, with validations, as though they can build a sense of self strong enough to withstand the silence inside. But something always feels off, with, doesn't it? Like we're playing a part in a play we never auditioned for. As if success, when pursued as performance, with, always leaves us a little empty even we win. You see, the kind of success that nourishes doesn't arise from performance. It flows from purpose. And purpose is not something loud or flashy. It's not always found in the spotlight or broadcast on a stage. With, sometimes it lives quietly in the center of your chest, speaking in a voice just soft enough that you must become still to hear it. With, it's not about what you show the world, it's about what you align with when no one's watching. When you're living from purpose, but with, the effort feels different. It's no longer about reaching for something outside of yourself, but about expressing what already lives within. With, you're not chasing success to prove you're worthy. You're allowing success to find you because you've become congruent with your truth. With, you're not performing for applause, you're embodying meaning. With, and what's remarkable is that when you stop trying to be someone else, when you stop trying to live up to borrowed dreams and outdated definitions. You become magnetic with, not in a showy way, but in an undeniable way. People feel it. Life feels it. You begin to attract the opportunities, people with, and moments that match the frequency of your essence, not the mask. But to live this way requires honesty. With, you have to ask the harder questions. What do I really want? Beyond the image. What brings me alive, even if no one claps? What am I here to give, to express, to live, whether or not it fits into the mold of what others call success? With, these are not easy questions. They strip away illusion. They invite you into a more intimate relationship with your own soul. Purpose isn't always grand or dramatic. Sometimes it's subtle, humble, woven into the ordinary moments. A conversation that lights a spark. A gesture that changes someone's day. A quiet decision that changes the direction of your life. With, you don't need to save the world to be living in purpose. With, you simply need to be attuned to what's real for you and courageous enough to follow it. In that space, with, there is no need for comparison. You are no longer measuring yourself against someone else's timeline or trajectory, but with, you're simply walking your own, and that is enough. Success becomes less of a prize and more of a state of alignment, but with, it becomes the echo of living in truth. And yes, the world may not always understand this. With, it may applaud the noise and overlook the substance. But your job was never to be understood by the world. With, your job was to remember yourself and to walk with integrity even when the road is quiet, especially then. With, so let yourself be drawn not by the demands of the crowd, but by the pull of what feels sacred. But with, let success be a reflection of your devotion, not your performance. Let it emerge naturally. With, like fruit from a rooted tree. Not because you forced it, but because you finally stopped pretending and allowed yourself to be real. But with, because in the end, the greatest success is not in being celebrated, it is in being true.